After I finished secondary school in the village, life became very hard for us. My mother was a single parent, and after paying my school fees for years, she no longer had the strength or money to send me to the university. There was no father to help, no uncle to rely on, and no miracle waiting at the door. So I stayed back in the village with her and helped her on the farm. Every morning, we woke up early, carried our hoes, and walked long distances to the farm. That was our daily routine. Even though I tried to be strong, deep inside me I was not happy. I wanted more from life. I wanted to go to school, wear fine clothes, and live better than the hard village life. But dreams alone do not put food on the table. Reality was staring at me every day under the hot sun while we planted cassava, maize, and vegetables. One day, one of my former classmates started coming to the village from time to time. Each time she came with confidence. She dressed well, smelled nice, and always carried the latest phone. Sometimes she arrived in a very big car. People would gather around to look at her, and young girls would whisper among themselves. When I asked her about the car, she told me it belonged to the company where she worked in the city. Her name was Jennifer, but she didn't like being called that anymore. She preferred Lady Jenny, according to her. The city had changed her, and village names no longer suited her level. I noticed how she spoke boldly and laughed loudly, like someone who had seen life. She shared small money to people and bought snacks for children. Everyone admired her. I envied her. I won't lie. Everything about her screamed class. She made the city look like a land of gold where money was easy and stress was small. Each time she talked about her life, she made it sound like once you entered the city, your suffering would end. She used to tell us, life in the city is fast. No time for gossip or village talk. Opportunities are plenty, but lazy people won't see them. She often laughed at village life and food, saying people here were growing old without progress. Her words entered my heart and stayed there. Slowly, I started wishing to be like her. I imagined myself working in a big company, wearing fine clothes, and sending money home to my mother. I believed that since I was used to hardship on the farm, city work would not be too hard for me. My dream was still to go to university, but I felt that the city might be the way. Sometimes older people in the village would challenge her. One man once said, "Is it not the same city I stayed in for 5 years before I returned to open my small plantation here?" She laughed and replied, "That was in those days. Besides, you were in Lagos. I am from Port Harcourt. Things are different." Her confidence made many young girls dream. As for me, I could not stop thinking about the city. I kept disturbing her to help me find a job or any opportunity. I told her I was ready to work and learn. I had never left my village before, but in my imagination, the city was full of tall buildings, big cars, companies, airports, hotels, and restaurants. At first, she brushed me off and told me to be patient. But one day, something unexpected happened. She came to the village again. And instead of going to her usual friends' houses, she came straight to our house. When I heard she was around, I rushed home, hoping she had brought goodies like before. She greeted my mother politely and spoke calmly. Then she said there were opportunities in the city and that she could introduce me to some people. My heart started beating fast. My mother asked her, "Do you mean my daughter can get something that will help her continue her education if she follows you to the city?" Lady Jenny smiled and replied, "Mama, there are many opportunities in the city." My mother looked relieved. She said, "Then you can take her along. You have always been kind to us whenever you visit." Lady Jenny added, "She was my best friend in school, Mama." I jokingly asked her, "Am I no longer your best friend?" She laughed and said, "Why do you think I'm here if you're not my friend? But you know there is a big gap between us now. Just promise me that if I take you to live with me in the city, you will not disappoint me." I quickly replied, "I will not disappoint you." She then promised both me and my mother that she would come back in a few days to pick me up when she was returning to the city. She asked me to prepare myself and pack my clothes. That night, I could not sleep. I was so happy. I believed that once I got a job, my mother would no longer suffer, and I would finally return to school. When the day came, my mother called me aside and advised me seriously. She said, "My daughter, when you get to the city, be a good girl. Remember, you are all I have. Do not do anything that will bring shame or pain. I bless you, and God will guide you." I answered, "Amen, Mama," with tears in my eyes. When we entered the car Lady Jenny brought, it was very comfortable. As the car moved away from the village, I looked back and waved at my mother. In my heart, I believed that life was about to change for the better. That was how my journey to the city began, full of hope, dreams, and trust. When we finally arrived in the city, she took me straight to her apartment. I was amazed the moment I stepped inside. She showed me my room, neat and well arranged. The house was nothing like what I was used to back in the village. She wasn't cooking with firewood or charcoal, but with a gas cooker. The apartment was fully furnished, and when she pressed a button on the wall, the whole place became cold. The city heat was harsh, yet inside the house it felt like Harmattan. I was impressed, no lie. But deep inside me, I was anxious. I kept waiting for her to introduce me to the job opportunities she had promised back in the village. Days passed, and instead of job introductions, I noticed something strange. She mostly went out in the evenings and returned early in the morning. Sometimes she came back with a man. Each time I happened to see one of them, it was always a different face. On the night she didn't go out, I noticed she still had male visitors who came late and left before dawn. She had her own key to the main door, so I never needed to open it for her. One day, curiosity got the better of me. "Lady Jenny," I asked carefully, "who are those men you always bring home at night?" "You mean the men?" She replied casually. "Yes, oh, they are my business partners." I frowned. "Why do you always sign the contracts at night? And in your bedroom?" She burst into laughter. "That's where I prefer to sign my contracts." I didn't laugh. My heart wasn't settled. So I pushed further, reminding her of her promise. "When am I starting the job? Or where are the job opportunities you told me about back in the village?" She waved it off. "I'm already informing my business partners. Soon or later, jobs will start coming." The next day, she took me out to a small fashion shop. She bought several dresses for me. At first, I was excited until I saw the dresses properly. Most of them were either too short, exposing my thighs, or too revealing for my comfort. Confused, I asked, "What's the occasion? Why are you buying all these clothes for me?" She smiled and said, "For job interviews. I'll start presenting you to employers, and soon the jobs will start coming." My heart skipped. "Do I have to work in nightclubs or bars?" She buzzed. "Not really," she said, then asked, "Why do you ask?" "These clothes are too short. They're not appropriate." She sighed. "This is Port Harcourt, my dear, not the village. People dress like this here to attract opportunities." I groaned softly. I wasn't a young lady. I was suspicious, but I still doubted myself. I kept telling myself she knew better. After all, she was the one who had lived in the city for years. When we got home, she picked out a particular dress and insisted I wear it. It was short and very uncomfortable for me. She applied makeup on my face and placed a wig on my head. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I almost didn't recognize the person staring back at me. She smiled proudly. "That's packaging," she said. "After this branding, I'll advertise you. Employers will start calling." I reminded myself that she had paid my transport from the village to the city. She had housed me, fed me, and was now dressing me up for job interviews. Maybe I was overthinking. She then took pictures of me with her phone. She called them selfies. After that, she posted one of the pictures and added a caption. A new fine lady in town, ready for bookings and appointments. My heart started racing. I asked again, almost trembling, "What kind of job are you actually looking for me?" "The same job I do now," she replied casually. That was when fear crept in. I didn't even know the exact job she was doing, apart from signing contracts in her room with different men. "Hope it's not what I'm thinking," I murmured. She turned sharply. "Did you say something?" "No," I replied quickly, pretending nothing was wrong. From that moment, I decided to wait and watch. Days turned into weeks. Almost 2 weeks passed. She kept going in and out. Sometimes she didn't come home at all. Other times, she called to inform me that she had meetings and would not return that night. I didn't know her office. I didn't know her work address. All I knew was that she claimed she was working. Then one afternoon, she called me excitedly. "Dress up," she said. "Wear one of the dresses I bought for you and look good. I've gotten your first job." "No interview?" I asked nervously. "Just do as I say." My heart was pounding. I dressed up, choosing what I thought was the most decent outfit among the dresses she bought. Still, I wasn't comfortable. It felt too revealing, but I had no better option. I sat in the living room, waiting anxiously for her to come take me to the job location. Then she returned home, and the look on her face made my heart drop. That was when I knew something was terribly wrong. That day, it was already getting close to evening when she entered the house with a certain man. He looked rough and confident, puffing cigarette smoke into the air as if he owned the place. The smell filled the room immediately and made my stomach turn. Without hesitation, she introduced him to me. "This is your boss for tonight," she said casually. I looked at her, confused and shaken. "I don't understand, Jenny." She laughed lightly as if nothing was wrong. "You just got your first job today, and more is coming. I'll leave you two to get to know each other while I shower and then go out. The whole house is yours tonight." My heart skipped. Before I could say another word, she turned and walked into her room. I stood there quietly, shy and scared, while the man kept staring at me, finishing his cigarette slowly. The smell made me nauseous, and my hands trembled. Trying to sound polite, I asked him, "Excuse me, sir, what kind of job will I be doing for you?" "Don't bother yourself, baby," he said, smiling strangely. "You won't regret tonight." "What exactly are we doing?" I asked again. "What is the task?" "No interview or explanation?" "I already saw your pictures, girl," he replied. "No need for interview. I've paid the money already. I'll complete the balance when the night is over." At that moment, everything became clear to me. I finally understood what kind of job this was. I was no longer a child, so I knew exactly what was being expected of me. My heart sank. I waited quietly until Lady Jenny finished bathing. The moment she came out of her room, I rushed in after her and closed the door behind me. "Just tell me it's not what I'm thinking," I said, my voice shaking. "You won't tell me I have to give myself to that man for money. That is not the job, is it?" She looked at me coldly. "What do you think I do? Where do you think I get money to feed you and pay bills in this house? Even the money I sent you back in the village, where do you think it came from?" "Over my dead body," I said firmly, tears already filling my eyes. She laughed dryly. "Do you have a choice?" "I can't do it," I replied. "Then pack your things and go back to the village," she snapped. "Don't expect transport fare from me. And don't ever try telling anyone about my life. If you do, I will deal with you." That was when I knew she was serious. This was no joke. It had turned into a threat. As she prepared to leave the house, she turned back and warned me, "Just do what is good for you. If you don't, I don't want to see you in my house by morning." The door slammed behind her. I felt sick, uncomfortable, and ashamed. Immediately she left, I ran into my room and locked the door tightly. The man stood outside knocking for a while, calling softly, but I didn't answer. Eventually, he gave up and left. That night, I sat by the window watching the moonlight. The moon became my only companion. In that lonely silence, I kept telling myself she was only joking. I believed it was her way of testing me, trying to push me into a life I did not want. Morning came and I stayed back. At dawn, I began cleaning the house quietly. Around 10 a.m., Jenny returned. When I greeted her, she ignored me completely. She didn't answer, didn't look at me. Normally, she would cook for both of us. That day, she didn't. Instead, she dressed up and went out to eat at a restaurant. I overheard her discussing loudly with someone. Hunger began to torment me. My stomach burned. I went to her and told her softly that I was very hungry. She didn't respond. She acted as if I didn't exist. Desperate, I opened the fridge. It was empty. I had no money, not even a coin. I was weak and famished. I checked the kitchen, nothing to cook. She starved me intentionally, and I knew that was only the beginning of my punishment. By evening, she locked the kitchen and went out again. That night, I slept on an empty stomach. The next morning, I couldn't take it anymore. I went out to the street, pretending to ask questions from food sellers, hoping someone would show mercy. I had no money. No one helped me. Only a small boy noticed me staring at the biscuits he was holding. I pretended I was joking with him, and he gave me some. That was all I ate that day. In the evening, I returned to the house, only to discover that she had locked the main door and gone away with the key. I had no phone, no spare clothes, nothing, just one dress on my body. That night, I slept in front of her door. She didn't return. Later, the landlord came and saw me there. He told me she had called and instructed him to send me away if he ever saw me around. I tried to explain, but he wouldn't listen. He chased me out of the compound. That was how I became homeless. I wandered the streets, looking left and right, not knowing where to go or what to do. Night was approaching fast. I had no place to stay, no food, no one to call. Even the smell of food had disappeared from my world. All my hope was gone. To be continued. To be continued in part 3. Please support us by subscribing, commenting, sharing and liking our stories. Please drop a positive review on my page. Please follow this channel at Village Fire Tales for more interesting new episodes and stories.